Yeah, I know I sound crazy when I say it, but this offensive line has improved. It looks better than last year's offensive line. Wasn't that the whole goal? Plus, CJ Stroud said something about the offense that just kind of put my antenna up on it. Let's talk about that so much more, answer your questions as well. It is time to talk some Texans. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Caffeine with Cody. Today, the Cherry Coke Zero, the caffeine du jour. So the offensive line is better. Okay? The offensive line is better. And I know it sounds crazy to say that. And I know you may say, well, it's still not good enough, and I would understand that. But the Houston Texans, who had one of the worst offensive lines in all of football last year, one of the worst offensive lines that we've seen in recent memory last year, it's better this year. Now, how much better? We'll talk about that. We'll discuss it and talk about how it was a pretty good achievement by them to get it to this point, considering what their initial plan was and where they had to go. But it's better as an offensive line. And I know it sounds silly to say when this is one of the images making the rounds on the internet this week. Yes, this is the Jeffrey Simmons sack that happened like that to the Houston Texans. They just had a miscommunication. Jake Andrews and Ed Ingram let Simmons dart right through there, and the play never happened. And yes, there are 4 guys blocking one guy and 2 guys blocking nobody, and then they will all end up blocking 97 as CJ Stroud is taken to the ground by Jeffrey Simmons. So I know this has been making the rounds this week for the Houston Texans, and people have been poking fun, and even friends I don't really talk football with have sent it to me and said, hey, look at this. Did you see this? Yeah, of course I saw it, okay? It was disgusting that it happened right there in front of all of us there in the early part of that Titans and Texans game. The Texans would allow one more sack in that one, but in the second half, no sacks. 2 quarterback pressures in the second half. They kind of got it going, and that's the main thing about this offensive line. It was never about being good this year on the offensive line. It was about being better than it was last year. The Texans have done that. They are right now better than they were last year along the offensive line. And I've got some advanced stats from Next Gen Stats to prove it. And I've got some just anecdotes about this offensive line that show you that they are better. Quarterback pressure is down 37.9% to 34.5%. Now, 37.9% is the cumulative total of all of last season. We obviously know there were some horrific moments where it was in the high 40s, sometimes in the 50s from a quarterback pressure standpoint in 2024. The Texans have not had any moments in the 50s. They got a little iffy there the first 2 games, but they've been improving. And this may not look like a huge jump in numbers, but 37.9% to 34.5%. If you had a 34.5% quarterback pressure rate allowed last year for this offense, they would have been right in the middle third. Instead of the bottom third of the offensive line, right in the middle third. And I know it still looks like a lot, like 35% of CJ's dropbacks, he gets pressured. Yeah, they're not going to be great this year, but they are better. That is a slightly better improvement from last year to this year. Sacks per game are down. They averaged 3 sacks per game last year. Now, 2.5 per game is not great. Okay, it's actually still pretty bad. You don't want to allow more than a sack or so a game, but if you do the math here, 2.5 sacks over the course of a season is 42 and a half sacks, whereas 3 over the course of a season is 51. So you cut the sacks by about 10 total sacks if you stay at this pace, but they can get better. They don't need to stay at this. They can continue to get a little bit better. Remember, it's not about how high they can go. It's about raising the floor for this season. So a couple of elements there. The Texans have showcased some improvement. They're also running the ball slightly better. Their successful run percentage, according to Next Gen Stats, is just a teensy tiny little bit better, which says a lot when you factor in they had Joe Mixon last year for most of the year, and they obviously didn't have Joe Mixon this year. They have a rookie. They have the artist that is almost known as Nick Chubb at the running back spot. So it is a little bit better. And that was the goal. That was the hope here for the season. Did it always turn out exactly like they wanted? No, it wasn't. But at the end of 2024, they had to do something different for 2025, and they did it. And now that they're here in 2025, they've shown a little bit of improvement. Now, I'll show you a little chart here. This is quarterback pressure percentage by week. It's gone down each week. The Rams, one of the best pass rush teams in all of football, they're fourth in the league in pressure rate. They had the Texans scrambling. They had C.J. Stroud, and they were getting after him. 41.2% allowed to the Rams. Dropped it by about 5 points there against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, number 2 in quarterback pressure in the NFL so far this season. The Jaguars, this one's a little bit disappointing and kind of, again, context hurts, but context also helps the Texans. This is the context hurts the Texans. 32.6% for Jacksonville. They're actually not getting that much pressure on an average basis. But again, the Texans dropped it. It still wasn't good enough. And then this past week against a putrid pass rush, the Texans were able to keep it under 30%. Now, last year, they only allowed quarterback pressures below 30% 4 times. So they've got to do that more than 4 times this year. Put something together, put some cohesiveness together. But the ability to improve is going to be important for this offensive line because there's no help coming. This is the situation they have put themselves in. This is where they are. And just seeing this chart continue to go the correct way that you'd want it to go is nice. It's a solid improvement for the Texans. Now, you still have moments like this, but if this chart keeps heading in the correct direction, it should bode well for the offense overall. Again, I feel like it's pretty impressive to get to this point where they are considering where they started at the end of 2024 and where they had to go here in 2025. Now, this improvement, this chart that I just showed you, it matters all squat if they don't continue down this road, okay? The Titans as an opponent, that's not an impressive opponent. That's not an opponent that has a really high quarterback pressure percentage. And so you shouldn't give up a lot of pressures to a team like the Tennessee Titans. That shouldn't be an issue. This chart only matters if this chart doesn't have a bunch of spikes on it. If they don't have random 40s and high 30s. If they keep it in the low 30s, if they achieve a couple of below 30s over the course of the season, then this chart matters. It matters right now because it shows a trend. That trend can very quickly go away. This chart and that trend can go away if they have a bunch of spikes, if this thing gets out of hand here from the Texans on offense and with their blocking. But again, I think they've done a decent job. Did they do as good of a job as they could have? Certainly not. They could have drafted a little bit better, a little bit more. So you have young guys that could have spent money differently with the offensive line. It's not the best job they could have done, but it's better. Okay. It looks better. It is performing better. It's better. And where they started and where they ended up, I think is a pretty interesting journey. We'll go through that here in just a moment, right after I tell you about my friends at TDECU. Hey, Landry and I are pumped to be partnered with TDECU here in football season, and they are pumped to have you. It's your credit union. It's not just a slogan. They mean it. You're going to get all these fantastic perks when you put your money with TDECU, including that Texans debit card where you're going to get 15% off in the online team store. That's right, 15% off hats, jerseys, T-shirts, ladies' hats, kids, all these great things. 15% off when you use that Texans debit card. It's a pretty debit card, man. It is nice to look at. You're going to get the perks there with the Texans debit card, all the other great perks that TDECU provides you. It's not your typical place you put your money. They work for you. Membership required, insured by the NCUA. You can find out all you need to find out at tdcu.org/Texans, tdcu.org/Texans. You can even get the ball rolling online, or if you want to walk into one of the 15 greater Houston area TDECU locations, you certainly can and get signed up with them and then start taking advantage of the great perks and benefits of being a member at TDECU. We appreciate them for sponsoring us this football season. So the journey on where they were and the journey on where they're going, okay? Last year, left tackle, Laramie Tunsil. That's what they had. They decided to move off of Tunsil, got some draft picks for him. Be interested to see what that haul from Tunsil eventually turns into, but that's what they had last year. The hope here this year was that Cam Robinson was going to be the left tackle, and especially when they practiced with Cam Robinson at left tackle and Ariante Ursery at right tackle at different times in the OTAs, the mini camps, certainly in training camp as well. The reality is the rookie's taking care of business and he's holding it down at left tackle. And Ursery's had some up and down moments. That's to be expected. It's a very tough job to go from left tackle in the Big Ten at Minnesota, where you have 3 really good opponents a year, 4 really good opponents a year, to every guy every week that you face can kick your ass in the NFL. It's tough, but he's had some nice moments and he's had some not so nice moments there at left tackle. I actually felt like the Titans game was pretty solid, which was nice after the tough Jaguars performance that he had. So last year they had Tunsil. They hoped for Cam Robinson. They end up with Ariante Ursery. I'll give this one a thumbs up. I like what Ursery has been putting together, and there's definitely potential. You can see how this works out with Ariante Ursery in the next couple of years, how this works out, and he becomes a left tackle you can count on and maybe even gets to that franchise left tackle level. What about left guard? Last year, the left guard that started the most, Kenyon Green. Had to do something here. Had to change things. So from 76 to 75, the hope was Laken Tomlinson would be that guy. A small investment compared to some of the guards out there in free agency. They brought Tomlinson in. He previously played on the same team that DeMeco Ryans coached in San Francisco. Hadn't been so good in the 2 years with the Jets, the 1 year with the Seahawks. And, well, Laken Tomlinson's now in a rotation / soft benching / bench, as Drew Scruggs has gone from almost off the roster in training camp. And if things had changed and if things had broke a little differently for this team, I do believe there was a chance Drew Scruggs wasn't making this team, but he got in there. He got some opportunities. He put some stuff together. He made the team. And then here a few weeks in week 3, after they would not just put him on the field in week 1 when Ed Ingram was hurt, Drew Scruggs is now, I guess, fighting Laken Tomlinson for a spot. I mean, no word on if this silly rotation thing is going to keep going, but Drew Scruggs, and I'll give this one a thumbs down. I think there were definitely some options to improve the guard situation better than investing the money in Laken Tomlinson, but so far a thumbs up on the left tackle and a thumbs down on the left guard. How about center? This is actually the only hope and reality that they had. Last year, Jared Patterson started the most games at center, and the team still has Jared Patterson available. He's actually started one this year because of an injury to Jake Andrews, but the hope was that Jake Andrews was going to end up as the starting center. He got the first crack at things in OTA's mini camps throughout training camp, and he's been the starter for this team when he's been healthy, and I feel like he's done a decent enough job. Is Andrews amazing? No. Were there free agents that cost a lot more money that they could have signed to be center and have better performance? Maybe. I was more on the line of spend it on the guards, and then if the guards are good, you can make the center a little bit better. And obviously Andrews' experience, Cole Popovich, helps him out a little bit. I'll give this one a tentative thumbs up. Like Ariante Ursery, big thumbs up. This one's like a tentative thumbs up, but it did a decent enough job from last year to what the hope is to the reality. Okay. Right guard's where it gets kind of weird and interesting. All right. Last year, Shaq Mason, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. the hope was that Titus Howard was going to be the right guard. They did not factor in Titus Howard to the tackle situation over the course of the offseason. It really didn't. The way that they operated was that they did not believe Titus Howard was going to play tackle for them. They believed he was going to play guard. The hope was he was going to play right guard. The reality is Ed Ingram is going to play right guard. He's been playing right guard pretty well. He's run blocking well. The pass blocking's got a little bit of a hiccup, but the run blocking has been really good from Ed Ingram, and he sort of revived his career after a really slow start to it in Minnesota with the Vikings, and pretty good job there. I'll give the eventual Ed Ingram settling a thumbs up, although I didn't love this plan. And then let's look at right tackle. Last year, Titus Howard was the right tackle, played the most games at right tackle for the team. The hope was that last year's second round pick, Blake Fisher, the hope was that Blake Fisher would take over that right tackle spot. It would allow you to play Titus Howard at right guard. That's not the case because Titus Howard is now back at right tackle. And this is probably the one where I haven't been super upset with Titus's performance. Just I didn't love the plan and the execution and how this happened, because your hope was Blake Fisher was going to be a productive football player, and they can't even put Blake Fisher on the field right now. There's not even a speck of optimism for Blake Fisher on the field right now. So that one gets a thumbs down from me. You just can't have a second round pick in his second year be unplayable. That one's tough. That one's tough. Now, that's not a Titus Howard fault. We're not getting a thumbs down on Titus Howard. We're getting a thumbs down on Blake Fisher for that. So where they where they hope to go and where they've ended up here through 4 games, it's okay. Is it good enough? No, it could always be better. Is it good if they just stay at this level the rest of the season? Hell no. They've got to continue to get better. And I asked D'Amico Ryans specifically about the first half, second half, but then he kind of gave sort of the general sense of what they need out of their offensive linemen. And I kind of liked this explanation from the head coach, even though he didn't quite answer the question I wanted him to answer.
We just have to keep working. Right, and that's the message. Like, you just keep working. The game isn't over at halftime. Like, you have to keep working, and it's about how you outwork people. How do you finish? Right, that's all that matters. And so it was nothing special that happened at halftime. The guys just continue to work, and for all our guys and for our entire team, it's for me. My message: let's just keep getting better. Like, every snap you get, it doesn't matter when it. Like, are you getting better every single snap?
That's the charge and the hope. You got to keep getting better. Where they are right now, this little chart, where they are right now, it's fine. You've got to get better than fine, and you've got to stay better than fine. And yes, every offensive line is going to have hiccups. Every offensive line is going to have a moment where you're like, they just got their butts kicked today. And that's going to happen across football. But you've got to consistently be fine. And then as this season goes on, they got to get better and be consistently better than fine. And we'll update this little chart here each and every week, and we'll see how they do. So I learned to make charts. All right. Get to some of your comments, your questions, your joys, and your concerns right after I tell you about my friends at Sleeper. Daily fantasy, man, so much fun, so easy, right there on your phone in the app to play daily fantasy with Sleeper. Got the deposit match right now, up to $100. Put in 100, get 100, and use my code Stoots. Put in 50, get 50. When you use my code Stoots, your first time deposit is going to get a match up to $100 when you use my code STOOTS. What is daily fantasy? What is Sleeper? Well, you're making a couple of predictions, more or less, on various stats, put them together, and multiplying your money. If you win, let's put together a sleeper entry for tonight. We're going to save that Daniel Jones free pick right there. We're going to save that for when some more Texan stuff comes out. We'll put that together before the game. But, man, this 49ers and Rams game, Puka Nacua more on the 98.5 receiving yards. He is red hot right now. McCaffrey's actually one of the best receivers on the 49ers because they don't have any receivers in this one. No Juwan Jennings, no Ricky Pearsall, And they've got just guys that you don't want to throw the football to. They will throw the football to McCaffrey. He's been really good with the football in his hands. This is our entry. And if you're wondering who the hell this Tonjes guy is, he's their starting tight end because George Kittle's out. Just a little $5 turns into $25 if we get it. And maybe we take some of those winnings and play a couple of different fun ones with the Texans. They've got college football. They've got postseason baseball. Daily fantasy is so easy and so fun with Sleeper. So don't miss out on the opportunity. Play some daily fantasy and have some fun with my friends over at Sleeper. Use that code Stoots, STOOTS. Terms and conditions do apply. Check out Sleeper's terms and conditions. Operational in over 25 states. Use the code Stoots, STOOTS, when you get signed up with Sleeper. So your questions, your comments, your joys, and your concerns. Let's get caught up. Wags, good to see you. Sean, good to see you. Morning, Cody. Here, Rise is thinking about an apple cider vinegar energy drink for our caffeine with Cody. Mornings. No, I'm out on that. I love Rise, but I'm not drinking an apple cider vinegar anything. Okay, not in the morning. Good to see you, Megalbins. Panda, appreciate you. Brian, good to see you. Cade, you're a member of the channel. Appreciate you. STX Texan. MK Adams from across the pond, I believe. Matthew's a Houston football subscriber. Says your article for Houston football laid it out really well, Cody. Hope they can keep it going. That's the big thing. It's an okay start. It can be much better, but it is better than last year. But it just goes to show you how bad they were last year, that where they are now is a pretty decent improvement, and it still has a long way to go in front of them. Panda says hit the like button. Patrick was in here for a moment. He had to head on out to the working world. HDAV Traveler, appreciate you for being in. Javier is here. Cordy at MF. Okay. Trade for JPJ. So Jackson Powers Johnson is the guy that Cordy's asking about. JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson. The Raiders aren't trading him. I don't know where this idea that he's available to be traded is. He's a highly drafted player from a couple of years ago. And if they were going to trade him, red flag, that means he's not any good. So I don't know why the thought of JPJ being available is out there. I know there's one channel that, constantly will come up with trade ideas or fake rumors and stuff like that. But Jackson Powers Johnson's, the Texans aren't trading for JPJ. Wag says, when are they going to be able to pick up the stunts on the offensive line? They've done a better job. They still have some issues with it from time to time, but it's a little bit better than last year. It's better than last year's offensive line. David's here. Good morning. Mr. Heisenberg, appreciate you. Ashton, morning, Cody. I'm off today thanks to the government shutdown. Oh, yeah. The government taking some time. I don't know. My mom keeps trying to tell me about this. I'm on the phone with her. She's like, they're shutting down the government. I go, yeah. Unless they're shutting down the Baltimore Ravens, I don't know that it affects me too much. I mean, I'm sure eventually I'll feel the effects. But right now, I hope they just kind of get it rolling here. Hopefully, they're still paying you. Right? Hopefully, they're still paying you. Super Chats jumped to the front of the line. Apologize to David and Wags. David, this is a prove-it game for Nick Caley. Prove that you're not like Slow It and you can learn from week to week and grow. I'd like to see a TD in each quarter. 28 points against the Ravens would be nice. How about 3 touchdowns and a field goal? So a touchdown in 3 quarters and a field goal in the other quarter. How about that? Is that good enough, David? We'll talk about this offense here in just a minute because CJ Stroud said something that threw the antenna up a little bit. Appreciate you for the super chat. David Wags asks, in your opinion, is Howard better at right tackle or right guard? I actually think he's a little bit better at right tackle. I would think right tackle is a little bit better for him. And I just don't know that he has the top end at guard. I think he can be consistent at right tackle, consistent enough at guard, but I think right tackle is probably where he's the best. Romy asks, good morning. Who should start, Tomlinson or Scruggs? I would start Scruggs. And I would see if Laken Tomlinson wants to hang around as a backup. Will we sack Cooper Rush? Gotta imagine they will. Baltimore is allowing a ton of quarterback pressure, allowing more quarterback pressure than the Houston Texans. And you got to imagine Lamar can get away from some of that pressure. Cooper Rush cannot. Cooper Rush cannot. BG knows. Start Scruggs and let the dog loose. Danny, isn't it crazy that CJ is getting pressured less than 30% of the time and had a 126 QBR? Weird, at Nick Casario. That's funny, Danny. Patrick says, that line continues from your chart. They're going negative. CJ will put pressure on the D line. Yeah. If they keep trending the correct way as an offensive line, they'll have some all-time performances blocking it up. Cody, you're still going to talk with Will Fuller during the bye week. That's the plan. I got to, reach out, see if he's interested and figure all that mumbo jumbo out. And then see if the number I even have is the correct number. But if Will Fuller wants to talk to Texans fans, we'll have him on SNL next week. Yeah, that's another thing too, Wags, is they protected CJ well, got some big plays off, and then it kind of felt like CJ was in a rhythm and he was having a good time out there and doing a good job. Kane, good to see you. Did Ed Ingram have the best PFF grade of any guard last week or something? Yeah. He's highly rated in overall offense and pass and run blocking. His pass blocking is a lot lower, though. So I don't know how that works where his offensive grade is high, but his pass blocking grade is low, but his run blocking grade is high. I don't know exactly how that all situates and works out, but he's had some really nice Pro Football Focus days. Ingram hasn't had any silly penalties either. That's true. That's true. Yeah. The less I notice Ed Ingram, probably the better for Ed Ingram, right? Like the less you notice Ed Ingram on the field, the better it is. You don't want to see Ed Ingram or notice Ed Ingram. You just want to go about his business and take care of it. RJ Chavez, let me talk to you. That a little LA Knight reference? Yeah. H-Town. Morning all. Caffeine with Cody is now part of my morning routine. Glad to see the offensive line getting better in terms of QB pressure rate. Hopefully the trend continues. Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep getting better. And if they could settle in somewhere around the low 30s, that'd be a massive improvement over last year. That'd be a massive improvement over last year. So if they could settle around the low 30s, that'd be great. Got some recommendations for some film breakdown stuff. Cade says Saturday morning inspection breaks down film, is raving about Ursery. Kane says that Woody Marks and Ursery were on Monday Morning Football. Sure. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Romy thinks Ursery is going to be a Pro Bowler in 2 to 3 years. Wouldn't mind it. Wouldn't mind it. Get your feet under yourself year for Ursery and then maybe takes off. Shaq Mason did not feel like he was in good shape. That is true. That is true. JB Allen, he's finally here. Remy says, catch a Cody live just made my day. Thanks. You made my day for saying that's a really nice thing. Seth does do some good job. Good job over on his. Seth Nicholson, Cody Live always makes my day better. Appreciate you. JB Allen. I have way too many YouTube notifications this morning. Jake Haffman Show, Locked on Texans, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. My Texans content usually in the afternoon. Well, we got some morning for you, JB. This is a good one. This one is, hey, I'm your Uncle Buck. I do enjoy a good John Candy flick. There's a John Candy documentary coming out. Crazy how the running game also got better when you stopped using Pearson Ogunbowale. Yeah, imagine that, huh? It's almost like, Woody Marks was really good. If Lamar is out, I think we need to worry more about Justice Hill than Henry. Defense hasn't been great with Yak, with running backs. Yeah, you're going to be keyed on those running backs for sure if Cooper Rush is the QB. No doubt. No doubt. Chubb and Woody. Yeah, you got to get it. Got to get it. All right, a couple more here. And then we'll get to this CJ comment that just made the antenna go up a little bit. I mean, yeah, if Chubb is a closer, come in there a little bit fresh because you haven't used him most of the game and just pound the defense. Yeah, sure. Esco thinks 6 sacks against Cooper Rush. From your types to God's ears, you know. DeRhino, good to see you. Appreciate you getting in here. Cody, who's the AC repair sponsor you have? Again, my garage AC went kaput. That would be Dwayne at Platinum AC and Heating. So Platinum AC and Heating. Let me see here. I don't have I cleaned out my history here. Platinum AC and Heating. 5-star rated by the Better Business Bureau. 832-777-3683. 832-777-3683. When you call them, tell them Cody Stoots sent you. I think Patrick just hung out with Platinum AC and Heating recently. So, yeah, 832-777-3683. Tell Dwayne that Cody Stoots sent you. Thank you, Siraj, for remembering that and checking them out. Yeah, Remy, those guys are rolling right now. Rolling. Gage, you actually have a good question. Kind of leads me into this other thing. Appreciate the alley-oop here, Gage. The Narrow Path of Gage asks, what's your opinion for Caley? So I feel like Nick Caley has done a little bit better in that Titans game against a lesser opponent. And he showcased a willingness to change because he's not been stuck in just week 1, Nick Caley. It hadn't been good the first 3 weeks. It was a little bit better in week 4. And none of week 4 matters if they don't build on it and they're good in 5 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and so on and so forth. Notice I'll skip 6. That's the bye week. But he's got to show a willingness to change and adjust and evolve. Evolve is a big word in that. And it's also a word that CJ Stroud used when he was asked about the offense. Hey, did it feel like things are kind of rolling a little bit for you on offense? You turned a corner maybe, and listen to how CJ talks about this offense. And there's some little nuggets in there that I don't know if he intended to put them in there or what, but there's something to pay attention there when it comes to CJ Stroud, this offense, and where Nick Caley is and the changes that have maybe been necessary for the offense. Listen closely.
A lot, man. You know, it's tough, you know, because for him, you know, he's done a good job of trying to listen to other guys, but also keep his core mentality and core plays. But, you know, this game's evolving. It's not, you know, what it used to be, and it's not what it was last year. You got to just find like Coach Day used to always say in college, every year when we hit the offseason for like self-scout, he would always say you have to become the new iPhone. You know, like every year you got to upgrade or you'll get caught up. So like iPhone, they come out with a new iPhone every year, you know, so they don't get caught up from other brands. So I think that's the same thing. Like, but it takes time. It's not just overnight. I think he's doing a good job of like listening to what I like, to what the team likes. And a lot of our guys are young, so a lot of the run and gun and like the fun stuff is like easy for us because we've done it before. But we're just trying to both get off, you know, our mark and, you know, push towards being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable with one another, but also trying to get some comfort plays in as well.
I thought this one was loaded with some things that were kind of good to hear, but also not great to hear. So he's been listening better. That was one of the big things. Nick Caley's been listening better and listening to how they understand his core values, plus how he understands them. notices that you need to evolve. Football's not like what it used to be. So, I don't know, that early 2000s Patriots tape, maybe it's not as useful as Nick Caley thought it was early on. Football's got to evolve. And then takes time, obviously. My question is, how much time does it take? And how much time does it take to move off the stuff that's not working, move on to the stuff that is working? Takes time, certainly. They've been together since the spring. Had spring all summer, and now here into the start of the season to get things going. You're almost a quarter of the way into the season. But at the end of the first quarter on Sunday, it'll be a quarter of the season in the books. You've got to figure out this offense. You've got to figure out what's working, do more of it, what's not working, do less of it. Listening to the guys and CJ Stroud about more. Okay, hey, we don't like this. Hey, this isn't a good play. Hey, we should do this more. And then CJ talked about the fun stuff. Oh, the fun stuff. You mean like modern offense? You mean like he said run and gun, but I don't know, spread it around, throw it a lot, trust the wide receivers, go out there and make plays, get them moving around, throw some guys open, create some throwing lanes, have some solutions to the answer or the questions. That was one where I just it felt like there's some things that aren't going right, and that maybe Nick Caley's still holding on to those things while they could be getting rid of them and cycling in and doing something new and different. That is my big worry about Nick Caley. But if he's listening to CJ Stroud and he's implementing the things that Stroud likes and the other players like, and the things that are working, and he sort of evolves and adjusts and does, I don't know, what he said he was going to do when he got the job, which is maximize the strengths of the players on the team, then you have something there. But listening to Stroud talk about that, just the antenna went up. And it's something to pay attention to. And at the end there, Stroud said you got to be getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm sure there are some things that Nick Caley's going to add in that Stroud hasn't done before or doesn't do well right now that can eventually be excellent tools and weapons for CJ Stroud. But until those tools are useful, until those weapons are dangerous, you've got to go about maximizing what you do have. And that's going through the things that Stroud does well, that the offense does well, that, Jaden Higgins does well, Jalen Noel does well. We've seen it with Woody Marks. Why can't you see it with the rest of the offense? So that was a one. Listening better, still sticking with his core values, but evolving, understanding that football's not what it used to be, takes time, listening to Stroud and the other players, do the fun stuff, but also get comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's a lot there in just over a minute, but it's all something to pay attention to with this offense. And, CJ Stroud thinks that Nick Caley can't get it done at the end of the year, maybe you have to move on from Nick Caley. But if Nick Caley is indeed evolving, changing, and is a malleable force with this offense, then maybe they will get it going on a consistent basis. What they did in Tennessee matters and will continue to matter if they build on it. What they did against Tennessee will not matter at all if they cannot build on that. If they cannot continue that third quarter into the fourth quarter success throughout the course of these next few weeks and months, then Tennessee won't matter. It'll be a one-off, and we'll still be disappointed with how this offense operates and works. But if they can make Tennessee matter, if that inflection point of Nico Collins on 2nd and 33 really is an inflection point that turned this offense around, then maybe they have a chance to go where they need to go on offense and be much better than those first few weeks of offense that we saw. It seems like it's going to take a lot of CJ Stroud and his teammates and a lot of Nick Caley's evolution to get to where they talk about it. And I'd be interested to see what Nick Caley has to say when he's asked a little bit about that today. So Nick Caley will talk. Defensive play caller Matt Burke will talk, and we'll also hear from Frank Ross. All right, a couple of different things here. Mr. Benjamin 100, or Mr. 100 Benjamin 100. What a name. Do you think our offensive scheme matched so well against Baltimore's defense scheme /history? I mean, no, because it's proof of concept is a quarter plus, and Baltimore's been good, but Baltimore's banged up. They're going to be missing a ton of players. So this is a better question for Friday afternoon when we know who and who isn't playing. Remy B says, Cooper Rush, decent backup. Don't sleep on him. This is not a pillow, but you get the gist of it. It's a Texas Tech pot holder. So when you have a hot bowl of like noodles or soup, you can hold it. My mom got this for me on my birthday. Lady at a farmer's market makes these, and it's Texas Tech. Go Red Raiders. Beat the Cougs this weekend, baby. Beat the Cougs. Super chats, go to the front of the line. Zach. I get a sense that Casario arrogance has went to D'Amico and Kaylee. First-time play caller should be listening from the jump. It's weird because he did a lot of Rams-type stuff in the preseason, then didn't do it early, and then we saw like a little bit more of the Rams stuff here in the fourth game, and when you know it, the offense looked a little bit better. So I think sometimes when you don't have a ton of experience with something, you go back to what you know. He knows the New England system, and maybe there was some panic and some worry there in the first few weeks that the new stuff he learned wasn't ready. But, yeah, if he's listening now, better late than never. Better late than never. Appreciate the super chat, Zach. All right, a couple more points here. Esco, if we don't have 21 points against the Ravens by half, I don't see us pulling this game off unless it's one heck of a half. I don't know if the Ravens are scoring a bunch of points, but I think you can keep them off the scoreboard and score enough. Texans scared to play in Baltimore. Well, you got to get over it now. H-Town Red, good morning, Cody. I think the game plan that the Ravens will try to blitz the O-line, put pressure on C.J. Stroud all game. Texans had issues picking up the blitz. Yeah, they're going to have to handle blitz pressure better. They're going to have to get rid of the ball quicker. Here's the thing. If their top three cornerbacks are missing, you should be able to get the ball out quick because you should be able to win quickly in this one. More rookies is going to help this offense, certainly, JB. I thought they kind of took a dip in Jacksonville, but they bounced back from Jacksonville well. Jose, hey, Cody, what's some advice for somebody who's wanting to do what you and Landry do, being a part of Texans/sports media? Send me an email, Jose. My biggest thing would say is there's no barrier to entry. You can start a YouTube channel and start talking into the camera and learn it that way. And you're going to talk into the camera to nobody for a long time before you talk to anybody. But send me an email. I'll give you a little bit more detail of that. I don't know if I want Uncle Buck to stick, but it's funny. Hit the like button, chat. Let's help our Uncle Buck. JB, remember in Stroud's rookie season when he was on Pat McAfee and Connor said the Browns were going to win the playoff game and Stroud puffed his chest out like, how dare you? What happened to that guy? I think he got beat down a little bit. in 2024, and the start of 2025 wasn't great. And I think he needs an early big play to really kind of get juiced into games. Always negative Cody, it's takes time, okay? Slow first year, 2 is a rocking start, okay? You and Landry are not patient at all. Cool. Yeah, they sucked for the first 3 weeks on offense, so that's not patience. That's not – like they were bad. Like it wasn't like, I can see where this is going and it's going to be good. They sucked for 3 weeks, and then it got better. So patience, you throw that out the window. It was bad for 3 weeks, Patrick. CJ Stroud is still recovering from energy vampirism. Yeah, they got rid of energy Dracula on the defense, and they pitched a shutout. 0 points allowed since CJ Gardner-Johnson got shown the door. Austin's going to the UH game. Yeah, wreck 'em, Austin. Ruben's in the house, 713 Houston Sports. Appreciate you, man. Kane says, I'm really hoping for a big CJ game. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? It's a beat down. It's a beat down Ravens team. So you certainly have the opportunity. Oh, look at JB Allen. Look at this. JB Allen gifted 5 Houston Football with Cody Stoots memberships. JB Allen, I appreciate you, man. That's awesome. Members get early access to videos. There's a couple of members-only things coming your way, like, for instance, combing through the archives. I'm going to try to find all of the food reviews, put them up individually. They'll still be on the videos at the back end, but the individual food reviews, we'll see if we can put those up for just the members, as well as maybe early looks at food reviews for the members, as well as just early looks at videos. JB, appreciate you for the gift of 5 Houston Football memberships. If you got a membership from JB, tell him thank you, and we certainly appreciate him for supporting the channel. Ruben, 713 Houston Sports. Cody helped my YouTube get started. I owe a lot. Man, I had one conversation with you, and you took the ball and ran with it, so I can't take too much credit. Little credit, but not too much credit. So, bro, how do you gift? That's a good question, BG. I think there's a button. I actually don't know. You know what I need to do? I need to look and see how you do it. I need to go to Asman's channel and see how he does it. But yeah, I think there's a where the membership button is. I think that's when. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works on that side, but I'll figure it out, BG. You're always very generous, so I appreciate you. OO is 50-50 on Cody Landry. I don't think he's 50-50. OO typically is very negative towards what I have to say and what Landry has to say. He's very negative. He's very combative with us, and I like it. I like that he has an opinion. He's a lot of times wrong, but I like it. Miles in that cognac. If they can't beat the Ravens team, who is beat to crap, then kiss the playoff hopes goodbye. Defense statistically worse than the Titans. I mean, no reason to not drop 20-plus points. That is also a very funny Shannon Sharp picture as your profile picture. That's good. Yeah, they should put up some points on the Ravens. They should definitely put some points up on the Ravens. You should definitely put some Texans turf in your backyard or your front yard or wherever you have grass. Get rid of it. You don't need the bugs and the mud and the dirt and keeping up with it and mowing it or paying somebody to mow it or anything. Texans turf will take it over for you. All right, they put down this beautiful, long-lasting, well-draining, always green, always clean turf for you, and they do it quickly, and they do it with the best prices in town. Landry was telling me all this whole time about when he was searching for a turf company. He wanted to put turf in his backyard, and he found Dan at Texans Turf. And he found Texans Turf, and man, that backyard is glorious. It is beautiful. I've been trying to get Mama Stoots to put some down in different parts of her backyard. Just trying to get her to make the Texans Turf switch. And I'm telling her, go to TexansTurf.com, Mom, and look at all this great stuff that they've done. Look at the portfolio, all the great jobs they've done. It's a great, great way to operate if you have a rent house or a rental property or an Airbnb property. You don't have to worry about maintenance and upkeep of a yard. You have that always green, always clean Texans Turf right there. TexansTurf.com is the website. Links in the description down below as well for them. Go there, check them out. You can book that free estimate. And you'll even put in a putting green for you in the backyard. Or you want a putting green in the front yard, the whole neighborhood can use it. Sure. They'll put a putting green in for you. Work on your golf game when you walk outside your house. Man, wouldn't that be great if Saturdays were better because your short game was better? TexansTurf.com can help you with that. Check them out. Appreciate them for sponsoring with us. When's the last time CJ has thrown for 300 yards? Genuinely curious. Well, if you stay with me for a second while I pontificate and talk, I can tell you exactly when he threw for 300 yards. So the last time Stroud threw for 300 yards was Buffalo last year, 331 passing yards. Had a 73.7 completion percentage in that game. That's the last time CJ went for 300 or more yards. He went for 345 the week before against Jacksonville. So just 2 300-yard passing performances in 2024. He had 6 of them in 2023. Here's a good question for you. Will C.J. Stroud have 300 passing yards games in 2025? I think he will. Jerry says, what's good, Cody? Long story short, I'm going to be at Seattle week 7. It's my first time being in the States and at an NFL game. It's really a dream come true. You got any tips for me at the game, food, etc.? Oh, buddy, man, this first time in the States. Jerry, send me an email. My email's in the description. Send me an email. I know some people in Seattle. I could get you some recommendations and some stuff like that. But I've never been to Seattle, and I've never been to that stadium. But I can get you some recommendations. So send me an email, and I'll get some recs from my people I know and then pass them along to you. But, yeah, enjoy the States. First time in the States, Jerry. That'd be fun for you. Stoots, Woody Marks, repeat performance. Well, wouldn't that be nice, right? How about a better performance? How about even more from Woody Marks? How about 100 rushing yards and, some fantastic receiving? He's one of the best rookie receivers from a yardage standpoint. He's 8th in rookie receiving yards. This goes to show you how dynamic the guy can be. That's not just amongst running backs. That's amongst all pass catchers as rookies. So, Kevin, I don't love that ugly logo you've got, but I love the idea of Woody Marks' repeat performance. I love that idea. Jose with the super chat. I'll try to make it out to Spanky's as well. Jose, alley-oop. I dunk it. Appreciate you, Jose. We'll be back at Spanky's on October 17th. So 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's not next week. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow. The bye week is next week. So no every other week, okay, this time. But 2 weeks from tomorrow. So the 17th and the 31st, and we may even have a costume contest over there on the 31st. You just never know what we're going to get into. Random question. Why do you think C.J. Gardner-Johnson hasn't gotten picked up? How long before you think he gets signed? Just curious. I think he ain't got picked up because he looked terrible for 3 games. That's what I think. That's why I think he hasn't been picked up. Eventually I think he'll get a job. The bye week's going to be torture, especially if they win. Bye week's going to be a nice little kind of kick back, relax, reset the deck, clear the mechanism, and get ready for the sprint to the end. It's going to be nice. Scott just firing in here. CJ is mentally soft. Man, Scott, what did CJ do to you? Blue Boy, Cody, one thing I always forget when mentioning the Patriots, they always had a top 3 offensive line Hall of Famers. At that line like Matt Light along the interior. Yeah, the offensive line was already pretty well put together. And they also got rid of the football fast. That was another thing. Got to get rid of the football fast. Miles Laconia. Kirk, Noel, and Higgins need to get more involved in this offense. They're loaded with offensive threats. I don't understand how they aren't being utilized in the offense. It's perplexing. Maybe some of that stuff CJ talked about can help that. Get it going. Patrick's going to be at Seattle. Jose's going to be at Seattle. It could be a big old contingency there. JB, send me any recommendations you have from Seattle. And I'll pass it along I'll pass it along. What are they doing with Dameon Pierce? Sitting him on the bench. Should Pierce get traded to the Cardinals? They could probably use the help, unless you're breaking news to me. I don't have Twitter up, but they could probably use the help. The fact that they didn't trade for him or nobody's been interested when there have been some running back injuries kind of makes me think there's not going to be a Dameon Pierce trade anytime soon. And they seem to do like Dameon. Kevin. Sorry about the logo, brother. Just remember the Jersey Bagels when you see it. Yeah, that's what I'll just pretend that that's instead of an NY, that's a delicious New Jersey bagel. Kev brought me some fantastic bagels one time. I can't wait to get back and have some more. All right. Austin, what do you think about a trade for David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns? Seems like it'd be nice to have a nice young tight end. Well, he's not as young as he used to be. He has an expiring contract, so if the Brown season continues to go in the crapper, perhaps they will be able to move him. They have Harold Fandon Jr. as a young player, so I would not be opposed to it at all. Their tight end situation with Schultz and the other guys is untenable right now. They need something more at tight end. Stover broke his foot. He's out for a little while. Still think we should have traded for Michael Mayer from the Raiders in the offseason. It doesn't feel like he was available. Like I know it was a popular idea, but it doesn't feel like he was available to be traded for. So, okay. Practice today. Need Will Anderson out there. Hopefully Derek Stingley out there. We'll find out what the Ravens practice situation looks like when they hit the field. Nick Caley, Matt Burke, Frank Ross, whatever's in the locker room. We'll have it all for you on SNL today. 4:00 is the planned start time. So 4:00 for SNL. Myself and Landry Locker from the locker room. Wags here at the buzzer as we wrap it up. What players have grown impressed over the last 4 games? Did I miss that one, Wags? I'm sorry about that. Well, I think Woody Marks getting more time. Obviously, he's been better. Ed Ingram settling in nicely. Ursery's had up and down moments, but it's certainly learning opportunities from those up and down moments. Scruggs is better from game 3 to game 4. Defensively, I mean, Tommy Togiai getting on the field, making things happen. So be good. Be good. How are you feeling about the chances to beat the Ravens? I feel pretty good. No Lamar. I feel pretty good. If Lamar plays, which is a super long shot, not going to happen, but if Lamar plays, I'm not picking the Texans. But if Lamar doesn't play, I'm picking the Texans. So, all right. That'll do it for the live stream this morning. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you had a great start. If not, hope this made it better. Finish out the day. Finish strong. We'll talk to you at 4:00 for SNL, myself and Landry Locker. We end the live streams the same way each and every time. It's my hope for you. It's my charge for you as well. I want you to eat good. I want you to sleep good. I want you to be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.